What do the Vikes need to prove tonight against these Rams?
Kirk Cousins got to start earning the money, period. The Vikings made a choice. Think about all the quarterbacks they had. And tell me if Kirk Cousins doesn't belong in this group. Teddy Bridgewater. You got a guy and an ascending guy. He got hurt, but okay. Sam Bradford. There's a veteran quarterback who seems to know what he's doing. Not recently, but, you know. Case Keenum. Fringy MVP candidate last season for the Vikings. Won in the playoffs, advanced in the playoffs against Drew Brees. Remember when we were all saying we like the Vikings because there are a lot of teams about evenly matched, but they have Drew Brees, and I trust Drew Brees. You should have trusted Case Keenum. Kirk Cousins really gives you a premium over Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater, or Sam Bradford? To me, he seems like he's right in that mix. You want to say he's the leader of that pack? Okay, but you're putting a $60 million premium on that Kirk Cousins because Case Keenum wound up with $26 million guaranteed. Kirk Cousins, $84 million. Guys, the Vikings have everything. They got the coach with a track record. They got the defense. They got the running game. They got a million options to pass the ball to. Kirk Cousins, what are you going to do? And by the way, Stephen A., they're playing a team missing their two best players in the defensive backfield. At a certain, excuse me, that's the Rams. At a certain point, you got to win. I just made the comment about Talib, of course, and they're the Rams. But at a certain point, you got to win.
Okay, here's my deal. There is no wrong answer here because there's a multitude of directions that you can go in. I don't disagree with you about Kirk Cousins, but my focus on the Vikings is on their defense, and here's why I say that. Because when you look throughout NFL history, there have been occasions, for example, the Baltimore Ravens come to mind, where your defense is what propelled you because Trent Dilfer was your quarterback. And by the way, I miss Trent Dilfer as a football analyst. I just want to say that. I do miss Trent Dilfer. He was tremendous, okay? I miss Trent Dilfer. But as the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, well, let's just say, damn it, he ain't the reason they won the Super Bowl, okay? So when you look at it from that perspective, let's understand something here. We're talking about a Minnesota Vikings defense that was number one in points allowed, in points allowed. That was number one in yardage allowed. That was number two against pass defense. That was number two against the rush last year. You were top two in every statistical category that mattered on the defensive side of the ball, which is what propelled you to a 13-3 record, which is what propelled you to an NFC Championship game. But if you recall, Max and Teddy, the last 6 quarters of the playoffs, they gave up 62 points. 24 to New Orleans, and then 38 to the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game. The only reason why we talk about the Vikings in laudable fashion is because we believe in their defense, which, by the way, last year only had about 3 injuries, so they were very fortunate because they didn't have a lot of injuries last year, and they only lost 1 starter from last year's squad. We get all of that. When I look at the Vikings and I think about the arrival of Kirk Cousins, what I think about is this, Max and Teddy. We got everything else. So what we need is somebody that we believe will be an upgrade over Case Keenum for the next 3 years, because even though Case Keenum was great last year, we believe that's an aberration, and his career tells us it was an aberration. We believe more in Kirk Cousins, but we have everything else. That's not what we're seeing. Now, obviously, he lost the ball twice last week, and we get all of that. But the flip side to it, Teddy, and I'm coming to you right now, is that at the end of the day, the Minnesota Vikings are about their defense. The only reason we talk about the Minnesota Vikings as being an elite team in the National Football League is because we believe so much in their defense. Go ahead, Teddy.
But now with Kirk Cousins as a quarterback and all the money you spent on him, and now you've got the quarterback that you hand selected, shouldn't we be putting more pressure on the offense, too, to do their job? I think the NFL world needs a reminder on who the Minnesota Vikings are, coming off that loss last week versus the Buffalo Bills, an embarrassing loss. I mean, you're going up now against the cream of the crop. Everyone's so L.A. Ram heavy. We love what the L.A. Rams are. We love that they're in Los Angeles. We love Gurley. We love their stars on defense. Everything's going right for them right now. They haven't lost a game. They're 3-0. So in come the Vikings, and they need to say to themselves, well, wait a minute here. We got a defense, too. You guys got Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald, but we got a couple good players there, too. Sheldon Richardson, Linval Joseph. You got DBs. We got DBs. Trey Waynes, Xavier Rhodes. We got a defense with stars also, with good linebackers. And now we got this quarterback, so we should be right here with this team. But sitting at a 1-1-1 record and losing to the Buffalo Bills last week, now we're looking at the Vikings as if, what's wrong with them? Everything's wrong with the Vikings. Everything's right with the Rams. So if I'm a Vikings player, I'm like, fellas, we need to go in there on a Thursday night and show everybody who we are.
But Teddy, that's what I mean. Not everything is right with the Rams right now. No Peters, no Talib, and the Minnesota Vikings could have Dalvin Cook back. And the whole point of Kirk Cousins is, yeah, you got the defense. And last year you had an offensive line, too. 2 years ago, Minnesota offensive line was terrible. Last year you got an offensive line. You have tons of receiving targets. The backfield is not there. Remember, they had to bring those guys in because they had to thin some stuff out in order to sign some guys they wanted, like Ndamukong Suh. Then they bring in Talib and Peters. Neither one is there. Okay, Kirk Cousins, you have the targets. The guys aren't there to defend it. We know you have everything else.
Right.
Where's the passing attack?
Yeah, this is where that's what you have to prove tonight, or you're going to have 10 days of soul searching after a Thursday night loss. If you play these Rams and then you lay another egg, then people are going to be looking solely at Kirk Cousins and a lot of other things with this team.
Tedy, Max Kellerman, my apologies. It's all my fault. This whole segment is all my fault. I don't know if y'all know this. It's all my fault. Max Kellerman, with a tear in my eye, I want to apologize to you. And Tedy Bruschi, I'm sorry, okay? Because I'm not clear enough. Damn it, I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. I never have. And so what I'm trying to say is that it's always been about the Vikings defense for me. I look at Kirk Cousins as somebody who is skilled enough to get his numbers, but rarely, if ever, contributes to the bottom line, which is winning, because the Washington Redskins, where he was the last 4 years, doesn't have a history of it. And all I'm saying is...
But you believe in Jared Goff?
Excuse me?
You believe in Jared Goff more than Kirk Cousins?
Well,
yes, I do.
Yes, but it's primarily because of Sean McVay, in my opinion.